Life as We Know It with Tom Walton.
Comedian Bob Hope, speaking at a college commencement many years ago, told the graduates he had just 2 words of advice for them. Don't go! Mr. Hope is no longer with us, but I could have used some similar advice 2 years ago when I undertook to put together a book just as a global pandemic was heating up. I imagine Mr. Hope, or anyone blessed with common sense really, telling me, "Don't even think about it, you big dummy." You know, I probably wouldn't have listened anyway. And finally, we have liftoff. The book, called Life as We Know It, Some Assembly Required, is at last out of my hands and in the hands of readers, most of whom are relatives and close friends who have no choice. I always thought that no professional accomplishment could match the thrill of seeing my first byline in the Blade as a young summer intern in 1964. Don't do the math, it'll just make your head hurt. The Blade was still an afternoon publication in those days, so the early press run would begin around lunchtime. I finished my story at 11 a.m. or so, and less than 90 minutes later, I had that day's newspaper in my hands. If not hot off the presses, at least quite warm to the touch. That immediacy, that instant gratification, was its own reward. I thrived on deadlines and never imagined that seeing one's name on a book could come close to that experience. Turns out I was wrong. It's pretty neat. Let me make clear that I didn't undertake a book project out of any desire for fame and fortune, both of which are highly overrated. I did it because my grandchildren are growing up without access to printed newspapers. I want them and their children and grandchildren to have a fuller understanding of who their grandparents and great-grandparents were and what their world was like. Plus, it was gratifying over the years to hear from readers of our Sunday op-ed efforts who asked if one day these essays might be available in book form. So this is for those folks too, the people who saw value in finding humor on the editorial pages. When my full-time journalism career ended with retirement in 2007, I concluded that whatever humor still lived in my own heart had been suppressed long enough. It was time to have some fun while writing. So the column was launched, and now some 375 columns later, I have pulled together 68 of them in a book. Choosing which 68 was half the fun. They are grouped loosely by subject. The pandemic gets its own section, for example. Another section is called Politicians, Potholes, and Other Bad Words. Reprising their roles as our hapless and luckless friends are Harvey and Harriet Fizzblister. Near the end of the book, I honor the memory of the person who inspired this effort, my late wife, Diane. She loved laughing more than anything. Her favorite expression of joy was, "Cool beans!" Sharing with Blade readers her long battle with cancer and the sad goodbye when we lost her was difficult, but it was good therapy. The book's title page features this quote from Ernest Hemingway: "In order to write about life, first you must live it." I know now what Hemingway meant. And seeing my book on Amazon and Kindle, well, that is cool beans.
Life as We Know It is written and hosted by Tom Walton and is a production of WGTE Public Media. Life as We Know It with Tom Walton can be heard on WGTE FM 91 every Monday afternoon during All Things Considered at 5:44 p.m. Or hear past episodes at wgte.org/life.